verse there.
Any Vaishnava who does a 30-day challenge, hearing or classes regularly, will realize more about the deepest path of Bhakti than revealed in the last 50 years since Srila Prabhupada's disappearance.
You think that's true?
Yes.
People already said that.
Yeah.
So now read the comments,
Right.
starting with the first hymn.
Yeah. So, this devotee says, this is not Vaishnava humility at all. To find a true Vaishnava is already difficult. What to speak about a Vaishnava 30 days
But yeah,
self-advertisement, isn't it? Like advertisement.
trying to glorify myself.
And deity have nothing to do with true rag marg, spontaneous devotion, in my opinion.
Yeah, like he's an expert. Go ahead. What did I say?
Maharaj replies, may not appear to you humble, but it is the truth. The question to ask is one interested in some
Feigned.
Well,
Feigned means, it's like not really real. Feigned humility, they just, the devotee's supposed to be humble.
yeah.
like
So I
fake.
was,
Okay. The question to ask is one interested in some feigned humility or the truth? Vaishnavas coming to hear are given so many testimonies. Did you read any of these testimonies? Do you even care about such testimonies? This message is for those who are hungry after the truth and are not deterred by the obstacles and opinions of illusionists. Those who associate with our Sangha members will gain a special kind of clarity about the real deeper path of devotional service that has been hidden and covered by so many and cannot be revealed by inexperienced representatives trying to present the deeper truth.
Great.
Those who associate with our Sangha members will gain a special kind of clarity about the real deeper path of devotional service that has been hidden and covered for so many and cannot be revealed by inexperienced representatives trying to present the deeper truth. The devotee replies back, please can you back up your opinion with Guru, Shadow and Shastra? That's Madhu replying to this other guy who's saying anyone who claims to be a so-called bona fide guru is not showing Vaishnava humility. And Trinadapi Sunijana, he says, this is his reply. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw of the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others without demanding any respect in return. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
So he backs it up with that.
But he's backing up. It's showing that you're right. By what he's saying, by that actual fact, he's saying that you're right.
No, but he said, I'm not. See, if you're acting like that, it's like you're acting on the outside. You're so like you never. Oh, you're just. You don't preach. You can't preach. You'll just say, you'd be like Rupa Goswami. Somebody told me you did something. Oh, sorry about that. Let me change it. And no, there's no preaching. There's no interaction because the devotee is not going to say anything. He's just going to say in bhajan. That's why Prabhupada said there's no preaching work isn't for the Uttamadhikari that's in that state because they won't really talk to you because they see you're blind and they just want to stay with Krishna. See, so the Guru is going to talk and discuss to help elevate the devotees to the next platform. So you'll see what I said, and then see if you understand.
Madhusudan replies, how do you know that a devotee is truly following that verse? The devotee replies, if you are placing such statements, then definitely you are not following. That is my opinion. Okay. Madhusudan replies, So you are speaking from your point of view, or Krishna's point of view. And the devotee replies, these are Lord Chaitanya's own words, and we need to know where these words, they have to wear these words as a mala around their neck, setting proper example. That's
okay, so that's this backup. Now see what I said on that. And see how different it is.
Maharaj replies, that verse is in chapter 20 of the Anjali.
Is that true?
I don't know where it is.
It is. It's in chapter 20 or 21 somewhere.
The postgraduate course of Bhakti Yoga. It's for advanced devotees who can relish rasa. Anyone who tries to imitate that verse before learning how to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master taught in Caitanya-caritāmṛta, chapter 1, Ajalila, will certainly become a sahaja by imitating the devotional platform they are not qualified for.
Can you see that?
Yeah. The real preceptor will teach the preliminary topics taught in Ajalila and Majjalila first.
Adilila.
Adilila and Majjalila, if they are acting as bona fide guru. Just see how you are misleading others by presenting yourself as an authority without being empowered to know things as they are.
Yeah, and and still he didn't see it. Well, maybe he did, because he got a little more humble after a while. Maybe he started to see something. But you see that point? People always revert, and that's the sahaja thing.
To that verse.
No, to many things. Out of context, they say, well, you see, and it's like they're actually going against Prabhupada. Because what did Prabhupada like? Was he always like, or did he like, hey man, and all that? So you criticize what I'm doing, you're criticizing Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta, because they weren't always, hey man, that's an illusion. That's my body.
You are a dog.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even go that far.
No.
But still, So this is the enviousness. They go, and because of envy and jealousy, they try to create an illusion. See? The illusion is they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they say, well, let me try and defeat this guy, no matter what he's saying. If it's right, it doesn't matter. Let's be victorious in the argument. That's the false ego. It's full of envy, jealousy, false prestige. And that's the biggest thing in religion. That's why people can't abandon it. When a person comes and just tells them logical truth like this, the envy and jealousy it bewilders their mind. They can't understand. Isn't that logical?
Yeah.
You think they understand it? No. No. Why is So Nina says, offer respects to others, of course, but how to deal with others appropriately. Offer respects to a tiger, but climb a tree. Yeah, well, offer respects, but the thing is, Krishna, when he was preaching, he was respectable to the respectable. If a person's misleading, it wasn't Jesus. I mean, the Pharisees were misleading people, and he said, hey man, you're misleading people. And that's what you're doing. That was the truth. What are you going to lay on Jesus Christ and Trinity Pichata and all that stuff? He was preaching. Prabhupada also. They would tell me, remember, what did they say? The truth will set you free. What, just to be, like that? And just go to your closet and be ecstatic? Because, it's not even logical or intelligent. Why didn't they put that verse that's in Anjalila, chapter 20, and Prabhupada said it's postgraduate understanding, and it's all the way in Anjalila, the last chapter. Why didn't they put it in the first chapter? There's no even mention of me, because you can't be like that. It's like you're trying to jump all the way up, through all the rest of the Leela, which is a teaching, so that we can progress in bhakti. They don't even understand the nature of the real guru and the qualifications or anything, and then they want to think, oh well, let's go right to Trinapisya, and all that humbler than a blade of grass thing, and they don't even know first chapter of Adi Leela, that what is the qualities of a real guru. See, it's ridiculous. But when you're blind, you can't even see that. Okay, go ahead. There's other things in there, a lot of stuff. I'm glad I said this, because you said something, because it It's a good teaching.
So Rob Ellings then quotes Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 29th chapter, verse 8. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent and angry, and who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Right?
Okay, so he's trying to say, you see, that's you. Gaurahari Das.
Devotional service, but who is proud of his personality.
Proud, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But who is proud of his personality.
of his personality.
Envious of others, or vengeful, is in the mode of anger. He thinks that he is the best devotee. Devotional service executed.
Okay. See, that's the point. You see, he thinks this is this guy. Okay, it's actually him. See, he is vengeful.
Yeah.
And he is angry. He's angry and can't
Envious.
tolerate the truth. And what else?
Envious.
And envious. But he can't know that he's covered by it. So now let's see what I said about that.
Okay. Unfortunately, these persons are like armchair philosophers. This is what you said. They never spend little time checking out what we're teaching thoroughly, and they just start blaspheming and criticizing and being very intolerant of the truth, or even being honestly inquisitive to find out if we are being truthful. Vaishnavism in this current state needs a lot of purification. You replied to Rob directly. You say, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, if one is proud of one's personality, this is the mode of ignorance. The devotee in our sanghas consider themselves...
The devotees.
Devotees in our sangha consider themselves fools, yet are very proud of glorifying Krishna's personality. That's the difference. Yet those who are inexperienced devotees cannot discern these subtleties between the difference of glorifying Krishna's personality and their own. And then some...
Yeah. You see the difference there? What are we doing? We're always saying that, listen, because of ourselves we can't do anything, right? And we're saying it's by the empowerment of the Lord, over and over again. But see, when people are covered by the false ego, they project their own bullshit on others, you know, their own illusion on others, and they say it's them. And persons that are weak and not very strong and faithful, they believe them. The sinners, and that's what the Lord Chaitanya's devotee said, that, you know, the sinners believe these illusionists. They believe, and they're completely just talking about themselves and covering the path of bhakti and cover the devotees, truth. And you'll see going into this is very interesting because it's just, I think we're going to do more of this because then you really learn what's going on. Go ahead.
I'm going to just say it, and it might be a bit confusing. When people say these kind of things, because we know the truth,
Yeah.
and they say these things, and it's exactly like you said, when they speak these words to you, it's like they're talking about themselves.
Exactly.
Because you know the truth.
Right.
So it happens a lot now. I see that people, when they say certain things, they're talking about themselves.
Absolutely.
And like in counselling, it's personal-centered counselling. The counsellor would just sit and hear you and talk to you, so they could work out your patterns. So you're just talking about stuff, and they could eventually begin to see your patterns. But also, as well, when you're talking, you start to hear what you're saying yourself.
Yeah.
You start to hear what you're saying yourself. So you might, like you said, because people do that a lot. When they're speaking, they're talking about themselves.
Absolutely.
So Krishna is getting them to say things to you about yourself. And for me, it's for me, it's like keeping your stuff to yourself.
Yeah.
Just have that kind of protection where you keep your stuff to yourself.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'm okay, but sometimes.
See, generally, it says in the Vaishnava teaching, one should not preach to the faithless. Are you okay? You need to go to the bathroom or something?
Yeah. Give a cup of tea.
Yeah, okay. Stop eating, maybe.
I've stopped.
Good. Yeah, you shouldn't preach to the faithless. So faithless are the blind people. You say anything, they but it's in there anyway like that. Basically, those are offenses against devotees and the true devotees and the true devotional path, and it's coming out of them, and that's their level of purification where it's coming out. So, and others, see, this is where it says, when the Son of God arises, Jesus taught, it's in the Bible. Okay? Same process. When the Son of God arises, see, that's the preacher. That's the person who has the divine potency running through them. Transcendental potency. So when that preacher begins to preach absolute as it is truth, comes out of their mouth, then the envious and all that, they arise to condemnation. Okay? And those who are pious, really pious inside and called, they rise to life. Okay? So you get life, and then whatever stuff is in you that wants to condemn the path, that starts coming out. You get expunged. You can handle it. They're so overwhelmed that they can't do anything for themselves. All they can do is come in contact with a devotee, and if they're fortunate, the devotee preaches and they start throwing up on them, like a little baby is throwing up on their parent, So, so that just happens, and that happened to everybody. It happened to Jesus, it happened to his followers, it happened to Prabhupada. All devotees, when the transcendental potency is at work in this world, has the same effect. People rise to condemn it, to hide it. That's, and then the people were looking for that. Like, wow, they get life from it. Okay, and they feel happy,
Is it also a lot of belief in their own ability to get to Godhead? And they've put all this time and effort, and they've gone to all the ceremonies, done all the Ekadashis, and they've gone to all the pilgrimage sites. And it's a belief, I had too, belief in your own works. Your own getting up in the morning, going to look after the cows, I'm going to... And then someone comes along and says, hey, I'm in ecstasy, just come listen. Say, no! I've done all this work, I have all these credentials, I have all these medals, I have all these scars, I have all these Ekadashis under my belt. It can't be that easy. I won't allow myself to think it's that easy. A lot of belief in the self, and that's why we're all here in the material world, because we believed in our false self. We wouldn't want to serve the supreme self. We wanted to serve the false self, and it's a part of that whole conditioning of why we're here in the first place.
Yeah, and most have to go through religion that is started by, you have to kind of do something. You have to work for it, because we have that fruit of mentality. So you work for Krishna. This is a way to work for Guru. Work for Krishna. Do stuff. But the thing is, you're thinking that you're going to be saved by being a doer.
The sweat of my breath.
Yeah, and you find why? Isn't that what Johan Janaki were saying? They were saying, yeah, I did all these rules. I did the chanting, and why isn't Prabhupada blessing me with ecstatic devotion? Okay, that's when they come here, and now it's starting to come. Because, and you see, I explained, you see it, even Prabhupada's book says, that's the beginning, and you got to move on. See the conversation with Ramananda Roy? Lord Chaitanya said that's external bhakti. You got to, how do you get deeper? You got to listen to the deeper teaching when the Lord is pleased to reveal it. Through a devotee. I got the order, Prabhupada, tell everybody now. So, and this is what happens. See, if you don't get the order and the protection of Krishna to do this, how can anybody withstand all these people throwing these arrows? You have to have that protection of Krishna. So, read some of these comments here.
Mina says, to not the peace, Nietzsche verse, offer respects to others, of course, but how to deal with, okay, so tiger and climb a tree. Then she says, wonder about the word for word and all the shoulds. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Go with the word of the Shikshashtakam and see who translated it.
And that's another thing. Okay. We should go through that, but just think about it now, because I don't have it here. One one should be humbler than a blade of grass. Should be humble? Isn't that a feeling? Can you produce a feeling artificially, even in the material? It's got to be triggered. So, by something. So when your feelings are triggered by communing with God, you have not only just humility, sometimes pride comes up. Even says in the verses, you know, sometimes a devotee in ecstasy feels pride, anxiety, all kinds of stuff. Not only humility. And how can you experience two emotions at the same time? Sometimes you can, but it's, you know, it's you know, mellows means mellows, the various varieties of mellows. Yeah. What was my point?
Word for word.
Yeah, the word for word. So anytime you see this should thing, that it's some kind of peppering and it's not clear, it needs to be discussed, because should is vitae, man. How do you tell it?
It's what is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, spontaneous devotion is like you should be this way or that way, but a devotee is just spontaneous by how they're interacting with Krishna. They just act according to that relationship. Yeah, it's different. This should thing, this is a, you know, bleed in from the mode of goodness thing. Okay, what else?
Mina says, just as I suspected, this is the actual verse. Oh, thank you, Mina. This is the actual verse from Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Adi Lila 2021.
Okay.
One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. No shoulds, yikes, and the Vaidis are rewriting all of Prabhupada's books. So there's no shoulds in the actual.
Oh, they're in the actual translation? Huh?
Yeah.
Is that the word? Oh, really? That is, oh, you see? If that's better, because that's not...
one who thinks himself.
See, one who thinks, and that means that's the person in Uttamadhikari stage that is not preaching. Like, you know, but it said, you know, sometimes even an Uttamadhikari will come down to preach. You know, just like you know, sometimes Vishnu takes Lord Brahma's position.
So, one who naturally thinks himself this way.
Yeah.
Who naturally feels this because of relationship.
Yeah. And when the devotees, you know, like naturally evolve to that point in their development, they will just do that. You know, they will. It's like, you know, Lord Chaitanya is the example. He wasn't always like that, was he? Did you see in the early Leela, he was all kind of proud and arrogant, teaching that way?
Yeah.
Devananda Pandit. Where is this thing? Why didn't the Lord teach that example just to go right into it and you do that? Why did he show the example? That Devananda Pandit, look at him, he's offensive to pure devotees. What kind of humility was it? Oh, he's angry about that, huh? He was angry in truth, right? Didn't Devananda Pandit became a pure devotee because he spoke like that? Right? Told him the truth. What if he would have went... What if he would have went to Devananda Pandit and said, and Devananda's, he's misleading everybody and acting like a pure devotee, okay? And he wasn't, and he threw Srivas out of his class. What if Lord Chaitanya said, oh, you know, let me just give you all respects, you know, and then goes away. Devananda Pandit would never become a pure devotee. He would not have the right teaching, not be directed rightly. So the Lord must have did this when he had some faith in his mind. When he saw that Lord Chaitanya started to get a following and people were coming, then the Lord hit the hammer on him. Okay? And he heard that and became morose. It says right in the Leela. And then very shortly he became a pure devotee. He took shelter of the devotees, the right path. Okay? So then later on, then the Lord started in the Anchu Leela. He started to be like that. Even offensive people came, like that. What's his name? Ramachandra Puri. He offended his own guru. He got the result of that offense, which is blaspheming devotees of the guru. He got the result of becoming a fault finder, like all those persons here. They'll remember how they went against this preaching. and be very sorry. Just like when Lord Chaitanya.
They're going to cry.
They will cry. They just like they did. People offended Lord Chaitanya and everything because he was trying to preach the truth, and then they swam across the river to apologize. Kind of same thing here. What's our fault? Just preaching the truth, you know, trying to bring people out of the illusion. Okay? So, yeah. So you got to see. Even Lord Chaitanya didn't just go right into that 20th chapter of Ancha Leela in his Leela, physical Leela. He preached first. So many preaching things. You can see he wasn't always like, I can't say anything because I'm so fallen. Yeah, it's just not. People, they think they know, but they don't know. You see, you got to look at the pattern. You got to see the pattern there. Okay? Only empowered devotees can see that, and if you listen, then you can begin to understand. This is like these people; they're not really listening yet. They can't, so that stuff has to come out of them first before they can hear anything. Here, read some more.
That's pretty much. That's as far as it really went.
Starry night.
Freddie says, how does transcendental pride look like? And how does it differ from material pride? That's it.
You're seeing it every day, Freddie.
Oh, Freddie, let's go over Freddie question.
Watch some videos over again.
Mina says, these discussions are so relishable. Yes. Amazing class, says Govinda. Amazing grace.
I'm going to do more. Now I was kind of holding back a lot.
You're holding back?
Yeah. Oh man, these guys say stupid things all the time. I'm going to just go out and preach. I'm going to do like when Jesus did.
Kick some tables over.
Yeah, he just preached. He just told them the truth, man. They didn't like it. They and illusions and all that, and we just defeat it. But the truth. And they won't understand right now, but at least they'll get a lot of crap out of them, you know. They need a good colonic, you know, spiritual colonic.
Flush that shit.
Flush it out, man. So we got the truth will do that.
So in the group, the conversation continues.
Oh yeah,
The person says to Srila Gaurahari Das.
All this he said?
Yeah.
Whoa, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow. Great.
Keep us busy for a while. That's just some guy replying to a post on a group, Vaishnava forum or something. The thing is that how do you know that what you are teaching is the real path as expressed by the true Uttama Bhagavat and Sriman Mahaprabhu? I have seen quite some qualified devotees in India practicing bhajan for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years within their life, still not feeling qualified and keeping their bhajan and emotion secretly, not broadcasting anything.
And go slow
publicly.
so people can. Okay.
I have seen some qualified devotees in India practicing bhajan for many, many years within their life, still not feeling qualified and keeping their bhajan and emotions secretly, not broadcasting anything publicly. So am I not here to I am not here to blaspheme any Vaishnava. I have seen a few of your lectures and meetings dealing with other aspiring devotees.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah.
Great.
So, how do you know that he's pure devotee then if he's got this for 60 years and he's keeping it quiet, keeping it silent, keeping it away from everybody? How do you know? How do you actually know?
Know what now?
That this guy is, these guys in India are pure.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah. That's the point. He thinks they think they know.
But how do you? Yeah, how do you know? Why do you know? You know. And the Guru Maharaj who here, who got everything and he's shown everything to everybody. You know, for the asking.
Shows they don't know, huh?
It shows they don't know. So you're talking out your ass. Oh.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are our audience.
Oh, sorry, audience.
This is our
I'm just getting
they're our
carried away.
cheerleaders.
Just
here.
getting carried away. Yeah.
Our witnesses are here.
Yeah.
But it is not the path I want to follow in my heart. Please excuse, I am looking for another taste.
So you got a little humble anyway.
I do not know anything. The only one who can give who can enhance to the deeper meanings of Bhakti since 50 years is offensive, in my opinion, towards other devotees who...
Did I say I was the only one?
No.
I'm just saying if you come here, you can. There could be others, but hey, man, open your mouth and announce it. If you got a place where you can go, right? If they got a place where they can go and learn more than the people have been teaching in 50 years, get up there and open your mouth. Take responsibility. So I'm doing it. I'm not saying I'm the only one. That's him. You know, it's coming out of his mind. Yeah. I'm just saying, hey, man, that's what my students are saying. Yeah. 25, 40 years. You know, they've been doing this and they've learned so much in this time. Now it's taking root and all that. You know, I'm just, yeah.
Who else has got a Rangaleka? Who else has got a Yamuna Devi? Who else has got a Krura Sindhu? Who else has got a Yuan? Who else has got a Lita Madhva? Who else has got a...
All of them.
All of them! Where are they then? Where are these bloody clever people? You know, who know this thing? They're here. Here at the Sangha now. They're listening. They're listening to the guy who's got it, who's spreading it out and letting you get it. And if you open your mind to it, and let it come in. Well,
Doesn't that just burn you up?
You become
Him up?
You become really, really proud of it. And I'm proud. I am proud. I'm proud of the fact that I am a student of Srila Gaurahari Das. Yeah? I'm proud of it.
Jay.
Proud of it.
Me too.
Me too.
Me three.
So there you are. So you've had them all here. They've all said it. You know, and I'm not saying this to make him feel good. I'm saying it because it is the truth. Because all I speak now is the truth. The truth. And I do. I speak the truth. And it hurts me incredibly much when people like this whoever it is saying these things about my Guru Maharaj, who happens to be Srila Gaurahari Das. Stupid. It's really, really stupid. It's just that the man hasn't got any sense in his buns. He's got buns when he wants to do it his way, and he's telling you that this is not the correct way, but there's all these people got it now. All these people got it.
They're blind, they can't see nothing.
Yeah. They're blind and they can't see it. So that's what happened. Not only you, Rangaleka Das.
Me too.
Me too. Yes.
Johan
Demand. And he's got it as well. See, so what more can I say? What more need is there to say anything else?
Oh, but you will say more.
But I will say more.
Alright, go ahead, read some more.
Okay. So, that's like that.
10 on.
Srila Gaurahari Das then says, that's our prerogative, to go your own way.
That's your prerogative.
Yeah. I don't know about these other Vaishnavas you're talking about. It's not about how much time you've done your bhajan in this life necessarily. The bottom line is, are you empowered to preach devotional mellows? And are you ordered to do so? I got the order to do so from Srila Prabhupada in a lucid dream, so I am doing it in his order. The proof that what I'm doing is a good and transcendental thing is others are catching this genuine devotional transcendental madness and are loving it. So all I can say is good luck to you on your journey. But I'm loving what I'm doing and I'm sharing what's in my heart. Yeah. So someone says devotees play different roles by Krishna's will. Maharaj says this is true. And then someone says time will tell. I wish you well. Maharaj replies thank you. The same to you. And then Marco replies, no, what counts is how we are situated in devotional service at present. Are we satisfied and fulfilled in Bhakti? Yes or no? This Rob replies to Marco, my personal satisfaction and fulfillment are not important in Bhakti. Only Guru and Gauranga's pleasure are what matters.
See, this is it. See, now that's interesting. See,
what
they
Anna was saying, wasn't it?
when you're a lot of people do this thing. When you are in the false ego, you think that your pleasure and Krishna's is different. So he said, and that's by see, you're trying to please Krishna because in the Shastras. So you say, yeah, you see, my satisfaction does not matter. It's Krishna's satisfaction. The Shastra says do it like this. See? But a Raganuga, a spontaneous devotion, their satisfaction is based on Krishna's satisfaction. That's a higher level of realization. Very deep, actually. So that's because you... Okay. See, by the mercy of the Guru, you start to become like them. They act for Krishna's satisfaction, are happy. So then you know that. See, but he doesn't know that because he's not ready to approach a bona fide spiritual master to quickly learn how that shows up on a spontaneous level, in a more intimate level. Otherwise, they see the separation. Oh, well, I'm not here for my satisfaction. I'm going to be for Krishna's satisfaction. So there's still a gap between their satisfaction and Krishna's.
Yeah.
They don't know, they're not purified by association with the pure devotees who know this intimate secret. And the only way they'll know is ultimately they got to get that Krishna's satisfaction, which is ecstatic love, and that's how you get to know what is the satisfaction of Krishna. It's that, and that's happening in your heart, or can happen in your heart. And when it does, you get purified. You realize, oh, this is Krishna's heart, man. We share the same heart. It says that's chapter 1 of Adi Leela. It says that, or anyway, Adi Leela in the early chapters. I'm not sure it's 1. Krishna and the devotee share the same heart. You start to realize that through ecstatic worship, and only through ecstatic worship. Otherwise, there's coverings over that, and it'll always be, oh, that's Krishna's satisfaction and my satisfaction. Yeah. See, that's the separatist. You're in your own, and you think, well, Krishna is in Shastra. See, that's Vedic. See, you're acting, you should, and you do, yeah, because I don't know anything. I'm not, I don't know these things. So if anybody does want to know, they have to listen to the devotees who know what pleases Krishna. And really, on the deepest level, it's not austerity that does. There's some pleasure in that. It's not renunciation. There's some pleasure in that. For Krishna. It's not in pious deeds and building hospitals. And there's some pleasure in that. Happiness for God. There's some. But the deepest way, the deepest realization is ecstatic worship of God. That's why Lord Chaitanya came here, to give that as a gift. And you notice how purifying that is? It's so purifying you think, slow down sometimes.
Yes, please.
But all you gals out there, you've been saying that you really want Krishna. Well, he said, okay, let's get it out, man. Let's get to it, man. Let's pull. You want your real teeth then? Okay, let's pull out all the false ones. See, it's the opposite. Here they pull out your real teeth and give you false teeth. Here, Krishna pulls out all your false teeth and gives you the real teeth. The real, where you can glorify the truth.
And you think the devotees back in Mayapur, back when Lord Chaitanya was here, and after the 24-hour non-stop ecstatic kirtan, all went back home and said, hey, wasn't that amazing? Oh, no, it wasn't amazing. For me, it was nothing. For God, it was everything.
Yeah.
They go, wow, it was amazing, it was brilliant, I feel it, love it.
They were in Krishna's satisfaction, ecstatic love. So, isn't that amazing? The Lord came here to teach this so easily, but unless the devotees are here and they get the order, they hide it. If they're here, like they'll be here somewhere, but but when it's time, then they start preaching this ecstatic love, that's the greatest happiness of Krishna and you and us, because we're part and parcel. Make him happy, then we get to experience that. And not the happiness. Is Krishna doing it anyway? When we renounce and you feel the happiness of renunciation or austerity, there's a happiness in that. It's actually Krishna experiencing that. But we don't know that. But when you start to worship the Lord on the ecstatic platform, you know very clearly that it's the Lord that is pleasing Him. It's the Lord that's the highest pleasure, not yours per se. It's the Lord's. Not like even a renunciate. They still think, I'm so renounced. See, it's me. I'm really, look at me. I'm such a good chanter. See, I can austere. It's me, you know. And then see, so no, it's actually the Lord. But you can't. It's not enough clarity yet. It's only an ecstatic devotion that gives full realization of the Godhead. Even Brahman, you know, Brahman realization. It's the Lord experiencing the happiness of Brahman. And they think, well, I'm God, I'm experiencing it. No, it's the Lord experiencing it. But until you worship the Lord in ecstatic love, you don't know that. That's why that's full understanding. What the Lord knows, you know. So intimate. That's why it's not surprising people don't get our preaching here. It's not surprising at all. If they knew what was really going on, they would
knock this door down and sit in front of you recording everything.
Okay, go ahead.
They probably have peed the pants, isn't it?
I wanted to say, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur had to, there was lots of Sahajism going on in Vaishnavism. Taking it cheaply, going off having sex with disciples, wives, and acting all dressed up as gopis, and it was just running amok, and no one was taking it seriously. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur put a brakes on it and said, we're going to have to lay some hard tracks down here. We're going to have to mature the devotees. We're going to have to get this back on the straight and narrow. But inside that straight and narrow, there's Raganuga and there's Vaidhi. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's son took on the reins, kept the mission going. Srila Prabhupada brought over to America. And the natural thing is to have this natural loving relationship with Krishna in ecstasy. It's peppered all over through Srimad Caitanya-caritāmṛta. But those unqualified people took it cheaply and said, oh, I can do anything I want and call it ecstatic emotion for Krishna. But you could, back to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so these are taken
but
cheaply.
you know, again, who the hell knows back then what was going on? You know, it's not really clear. It's not, that shit ain't going on now. You know, why worry about it? And that's why I like that you read that book about how to define. It is so difficult to understand, and you could mix a real devotee into that. It is worth not even reading, because I seen the result. I seen this people reading that thing where he's discussing how to understand that there's the sahaja thing, and I see all these sahajas out there, which are the devotees, because they're not even realized, and they think they can understand who is a pure devotee, and they get into that, and they just make it worse. Worse. This trying to discern this, and you're not only a devotee who is engaged in under that. You have to hear these things from a devotee, but they don't. They try and figure it out on their own, and they think, so now I know, and they misconstrue everything. The books are not for them, and that was at a time, really, that was the preaching for back then.
Yeah.
I don't even want to, I wouldn't use that book at all.
I don't know what book you're talking about.
It's called Bhakti-Vedic or something. I forgot exactly what the name of the book is. It's about how to define, how to understand who a sahaja is and the false lines.
Oh, I think I was given that book when I joined ISKCON after my
Yeah,
class.
but anyway, you get in the hands of a neophyte, it's a catastrophe. If you ever find a devotee, you'll just label them sahaja. How do you know the real thing from the false? It's anyway. Some of this stuff is just not the way to do it. Anyway, if anybody comes here and listens, you're lucky to get that opportunity, because then you can just use your own common sense and logic. After a while, just see if what we're saying is not better than all this other bullshit going on here from blind people. Blind. Yeah, blind leaders, blind followers. They're everywhere, man. More or less blind. Full of, and they're jealous. That's why they can't even come here, and see what we're doing. Are covered by that level. But anyway, we do our best. What else? Is there anything else?
Yeah, so the devotee says to Srila Gaurahari Das, it is fine to me, and I wish you and your disciples and followers all the best. Please don't hurt anyone. To bring someone in contact with the divine mercy and Sri Sri Radha Krishna's intimate associates is not an easy or cheap thing. And yes, I agree, it is not about external things. And you reply, unless one is generally realized an ecstatic love of Krishna, one will more or less hurt others by misdirecting them due to insufficient transcendental understandings of things as they are. Yeah.
See, in other words, don't hurt it. He thinks, oh, don't hurt anybody. He's hurting people all the time just by what he says.
So he's just saying something about himself to you.
You know. By the way, he became more humble. That's nice.
Quite a lot here.
More?
Loads, yeah.
Where? Check it out.
Yeah.
Just keep going down the line.
Yeah. Marco says, a conditioned and offensive devotee may argue that someone born outside of India and not even wearing a dhoti and neck beads cannot experience the higher levels of bhakti. Good chance, however, that they have understood very little till nothing about the mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
So that's Marco on our team.
And then Rob replies, wake up, which Madhusudan puts this cool gif.
Yeah.
He puts this cool gif. I have arisen. So this is the chariot has arisen, and so Maharaj replies to Rob, that's why we are hearing Hari Katha every day. And Rob says to Maharaj, who are you hearing it
This
from?
is good. Listen to this.
Who are you hearing it from? Maharaj replies, tell me who Srila Prabhupada was hearing it from, then maybe you will understand.
Who was he hearing from? You get that point? He's saying, what living Mahabhagavan are you hearing from? He's saying a trap, you know? And so I'm thinking, so who was Srila Prabhupada hearing from? What, he had just a little hearing from his guru? Like he was already self-realized, man. You know? So, you know, he was already self-realized. So who did Prabhupada hear from?
Do your homework, Rob.
Yeah. And so here, in this name, it says Srila, right? In the name front of Prabhupada is Srila, right? Who was Bhakti Vinod hearing from? Well, actually, he was teaching Gaurahari Das Babaji. He would go to the class, and Gaurahari would listen to his wonderful class. Well, he wasn't teaching them; they'd be relishing. They'd be relishing Hari Katha, you know, at that point. See, so he's thinking, well, who are you hearing from? Because there's you got to hear from some great, and he's right. If you can find some rare person to really hear from, you know. So who is he here? Now hear the answer.
Maharaj replies, to those who worship me in loving ecstasy, I give them the understanding how they can come to me, Gita 10:10. And then Rob replies to Srila Gaurahari, oh, so you're like Prabhupada now. He walks straight into it.
Yeah, he fell into the trap.
Yeah.
He thought he was going to trap me. I thought I'd trap him. Right? Oh, so you're like Srila Prabhupada, huh? Okay, let's see what...
Maharaj replies, oh, anyone who is fortunate to worship the Lord in transcendental loving ecstasy will know what Srila Prabhupada knows, which is the essence of all truth. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then you have to hear from a devotee who worships the Lord with genuine ecstatic love, until you can also begin to understand like my disciples understand. That's the real process of Krishna consciousness. Rob replies to Srila Haridas, you sound like a telesales commercial trying to convince us to buy into your fantasy.
You know, it's amazing. He can't appreciate it. This was coming through. So I thought, wow, you know, this is so wonderful, so amazing, you know. And this is what he says. Oh, you can't even see it.
He asked you a question.
Yeah.
You give an
answer.
You're trying to say.
Yeah. See, he asked me a question, you know, and what comes is so beautiful.
This is Kali-yuga conversation.
People already have the answer before they ask the
Yeah.
question. They have their own answer.
He doesn't want an answer. He just wants an argument.
Yeah, he wants to argue.
He doesn't want a conversation.
He's not answering it how I think it should be answered.
No. Exactly. It's Kali-yuga stuff. He's not willing to surrender, to listen, to give it a chance to see. Maybe this could be something. No, he's stuck in his trench and he's not moving. But it's a great example for those.
Yeah, and what was the last part? He said, "Oh yeah, you're like."
Why try so hard? The sun doesn't need to be pointed out.
All right,
it's self-effulgent.
Okay, yeah.
Watch his class, Rob.
Yeah.
You don't drive it.
Yeah, he's falling more into the trap. he's falling more into.
He's squealing.
Yeah. See, now the self-effulgent thing comes up. All right, so go ahead.
Oh, so Maharaj replies, or how about just an honest person answering your question? You know, what? My words don't sound reasonable and logical to you. Well then, they do to me and also my students who are called by the Lord in their hearts to hear them. It is not surprising that you don't understand what I'm saying, because you're very envious of me and...
Did I say that?
No, because... Oh, sorry. So this is
don't put words in my... Don't do that, man.
No, I'm not. I misread it.
Oh, okay.
I misread it. I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, okay.
Because you're never envious... This is a quote. Because you're never envious of me and are my dear friend, I will impart to you the confidential truth. The same verse applies to also his representatives in this world. My disciples are also my friends, therefore they understand what I'm saying. It's so clear to us and so hidden to those who are still spiritually blind or unawakened. Some could see Srila Prabhupada's self-effulgence when he opened his mouth and spoke truth without being suppressed by his godbrothers. It's no different here. My godbrothers do the same number. Most don't believe what I say. Therefore, this amazing process just passes them by. Srila Gaurahari Das post lovely little gif of a lady saying, "Don't be a hater, dear. Don't be a hater. You miss out so much if you hate." Okay, so I think that little engagement. So then someone else, Jesus Christ, this really sparked a tinderbox. Yeah. So then some other guy says, and what when someone is listening to Srila Prabhupada's lectures daily or reading his books? What more is there to be revealed? Bhagavad-Gita 10:10! Hello! Wow, this is great. This is great. This should be framed. So Maharaj replies, those who listen to our lectures will find out, otherwise it won't be revealed. Those who have read Srila Prabhupada's books 5 times say now that they are understanding the heart of Srila Prabhupada. If one doesn't take the time to listen, they will never know. It's their destiny not to know in this life. This devotee replies to Maharaj, so you claim that we need to understand. So you claim that we need you to understand Srila Prabhupada's heart? It suggests that Prabhupada was not capable enough. The very thought of this sounds reprehensible to me. Very, very bad. This person says, oh, we need you to translate Prabhupada to us.
Well, yes.
So then he continues. Srila Gaurahari Das, furthermore, I do not recognize the humble mood of an exalted Vaishnava here. Such a person would never make such claims in public. And then Rob says to this Prabhu, did the Srila give it away? So they're laughing at the fact you call yourself Srila.
I don't think I didn't get to that yet.
You haven't got to that yet, I don't think so.
Okay, so let's get to that now. Okay. So read his last thing again.
Oh, Shri Krishna. So, furthermore, I do not recognize the humble mood of an exalted Vaishnava here. Such a person would never make such a claim in public.
No, before that.
So you claim that we need you to understand Srila Prabhupada's heart. It suggests that Prabhupada was not capable enough. The very thought of it sounds irreprehensible.
So, let's take that. So Bhakti Siddhanta said to the disciples of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he said, because he saw they weren't also understanding his father. He did, because why? He was an empowered devotee. Right? So he said, you should hear these my father's books from me. He just out there told them. Well, that's not very, and they're probably thinking the same. That's not very humble of you, Prabhu. To say that, because a pure devotee would never say that and all that. But it was the truth. They should actually do that, and they would never know to do that unless he would at least said something, gave them a chance to get out that garbage that was inside, stopping them from realizing his position. And Prabhupada said a similar thing. He said, actually, my guru wrote these books for me.
That's bold.
See? And so why? So what is the point? What they're saying. Bhakti Siddhanta had the spiritual potency, therefore can understand his guru, his father, his Shiksha guru. He could understand him. See? Prabhupada had the spiritual potency, therefore he could really understand the heart of his guru. See? And most of the God brothers couldn't. That's why he said in Caitanya-caritāmṛta, these persons started to appoint acharyas. He said, that's not the mood of my guru. He said, that's actually offensive to do like that. They don't understand his mind. But he did. Okay? So now he's saying, you actually, you think that you, say what it is there.
So you claim that we need you to understand Srila Prabhupada's heart? Yeah,
you see, so there it is again, always the same thing. It's, we need you to understand these, Prabhupada, that we can understand directly. Well, proof would be, if they really understood Prabhupada, why don't they understand everything I said here? Do you guys understand what we're talking? Yeah, it makes sense. It's logical. It's not logical to them. So do they need a little help?
Yes.
Yeah. Am I saying I'm the only one to do it? I'm not. I'm just a person here. I'm just doing it. I'm doing what I do. If there's somebody else that can help them understand, because they obviously need it, because they're not understanding this, I'm just talking about the essence of truth that Prabhupada knew, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Vinod. And that's the opinion I'm teaching now more publicly and more openly, because I've been ordered to do so. He doesn't understand it, so does he need to actually hear from somebody that knows? Yeah. And he's resisting it, right? No, we know. I want to go directly. The Pharisees, Pharisees said the same thing with Moses. Oh, you're telling us we need to listen to you, Jesus? No, we listened to Moses. And what was the message of Moses? Follow rules, regulations, and all of that. And in the scriptures, all this hidden stuff is there to them. See? So Jesus said, no, you should hear from me, because if you don't, you'll die in your sin. You won't understand these subtle principles. Okay? It's the same thing here. They say, no, let's go and hear from directly Prabhupada. And what is Prabhupada teaching? He said, my mission is to establish Varnashram Dharma. That was his mission. So that's where you'll stay, because he's speaking that, right? His books is other things. The deeper treasures. Okay? What am I speaking? I'm speaking Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotion, these subtle principles. I'm sure Janaki and Johan and Meena can say, hey, I'm learning something that I couldn't quite get in Prabhupada's books by directly trying to understand it. Because it wasn't him to reveal it. The Lord said, no, just give them the rules, or get a foothold here,
You see, you go into an organized Krishna conscious place, and you go to a kirtan, and you say, how's a kirtan? Always ecstatic. They don't understand what ecstatic means. They're using that word, so they think they're feeling ecstasy, but they're just throwing out this word willy-nilly. And they read, you're back to attend an ecstatic love. Oh, I feel ecstatic love because yesterday I had an ecstatic kirtan. Was it really ecstatic?
They can't even understand the deeper thing.
They just say the word.
That's the problem. So anyway, that's the problem. They need to hear from a devotee revealing deeper truths, because you see, they can't see it. You say, we only need Prabhupada, but they stay there on not understanding Prabhupada. They don't understand the books. They don't even. They can understand rules, regulations. Oh, Prabhupada said teaching that. Remember that lady that came here? That she said, I don't know, you're not saying what Prabhupada said. You're right, I'm not. It's just like going to Jesus and saying, oh, you're not saying what Moses said. Right? Same thing. There's no difference. What, am I being like Jesus? Well, hey man, Jesus was just a friggin' carpenter, wasn't he? And he opened his mouth, and things that were never revealed were revealed. So the mercy of God was on him, right? Well, people out there just have to determine, hey man, I'm just a low-born Sudra. Is the mercy of God here or not?
Thick.
You know? If it is, take advantage, man. Let's have a party. You know? Jeez, that's what I'm doing. This is a party to me.
People are afraid to accept what they actually are. Like if you are what you seem to be claiming that you are, you go, no, you're just an ordinary person. We're not ordinary people.
Yeah.
Nobody's an ordinary person. We're
Yeah.
all parts and parcel of God.
Yeah. Well, people are ordinary until they're awakened. Then you start to get into a more extraordinary state because you're not whole until we're connected. You know? Now you start to become a little, when you got connected, then you got some potency.
Move mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait. Let's see. Let's hear. So Mina says, Freddie says, maybe we are brainwashed by you. Yeah, I'll just say, repeat what Prabhupada. Yeah, your brains are being washed. Yeah, it's being washed of what? Bullshit. What? Being washed of this crapola. These were your teachers before. These are the leaders of Krishna consciousness. They're blind guides, aren't they? When you hear this, you know, what do you want me to say? That when I'm in this world, I'm the light of this world? You think I would say that? No, I say, while this potency is in this world coming through this mouth here, this is the light. It even leads me, like Bhagavad-Gita 10:10. If anyone here is lucky and fortunate to worship the Lord with genuine, loving ecstasy, he gives the intelligence. It's him giving that. I'm not saying, I'm the light. No, the Lord is the light. He gives it to me, and I give it to whoever else wants to listen on the order of Prabhupada and the blessing of Krishna. Simple. You don't like that? Go into the darkness. What can I say, man? If that's your desire, and Maya will teach you. Someday you'll say, oh, God, I'm suffering. I'll listen, Lord. Okay? And then you'll have to hear from a devotee and realize you're just a stupid blind fuck. You know, to be blunt about it, these guys are blind guides, man. Can you see that through the? How would you know that unless there's a dialogue like this? A blind person, a person whose eyes are open, an intelligent, thoughtful person will say, man, that's a blind dude, and those guys are leading the Krishna conscious movement. These are scholars here, so-called scholars. Okay, that's fine, but when real light is here, given into this world, why not take advantage of the light? You know? The conclusive understanding. And then,
look into the conduit.
And then, yeah, exactly, because that, you know, otherwise the glowworms are in charge. You know? I'm just sharing. This is all in the moment. They come up with their conclusions, and the Lord's giving me the ammunition, man. It's ammunition. They got their ammunition from the Mayan speculation, and the Lord gives me, and so we have a little fight here, a little dance.
Yeah, why can't he see glowworms during the day? Because the sun is on. And now he can't see these glowworms because Gaurahari's on. He's got the sun, he's coming out of him. Now, wherever he's going, it's coming out. So the glowworms are getting, I can't shine anymore. So they're getting sick. And they are sick. They really are. Because the man is here who's got the power. And the power is Krishna. And he's a conduit.
Yeah. So let's take this brainwash thing again some more. Just a little bit fair. Yeah, this brainwash. So, hey man, brainwashed? You can what else do you conclude? I mean, it's up to you. I mean, I'm just putting out what the Lord is revealing to me, and you decide. It's like with Krishna on the battlefield. He just shared his truth, Krishna, and you contemplate, think about it. If you hear something more reasonable, go for that. Isn't that about to be more clear and reasonable and logical? I mean, wouldn't that make you a better person? So, hey man, I'm just presenting conclusions that make me happy. You know, that I'm committed to, that I believe in with all my heart. And so you guys decide. For you, Freddie, you decide. Are you being brainwashed?
He's joking.
I know, but this is a good question. People think, oh, you're brainwashing?
Because he came up with a great answer.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, so you or anybody else thinking that, just consider it. Are you being brainwashed in a cult? I'm just telling you what the Lord's revealing me about the qualifications of guru and teacher and teachings and truth and all these things. Evaluate it. It should get something going in there, you know? So you can evaluate these things. Otherwise, you can't, then you are brainwashed. Brainwash is to go, that's why people think many people think Krishna consciousness is a cult, don't they?
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
They do. Because you got leaders and everything is like kind of culty, you can't ask any question. Can people ask any questions here?
Sure can.
You can even interrupt here often a little bit. Not all, then be crazy about it, but you have something up in a moment, go, you can do that. Can you do that in the temples? No, it's just stuff it down and just follow what we say.
You won't get your breakfast.
So it's a little bit more. I'm not saying they're all culty, but there's kind of, could be that way.
Yeah.
Depends on the temple, actually. Yeah. Okay. So Meena says, what? Oh, I read some stuff.
People sitting in steam rooms chanting Maha mantras. Not culty.
And by the way, on that, we were very softly chanting. I mean, I couldn't even barely hear myself. The guy just hearing that mantra, he just couldn't tolerate it. His stuff was coming out, getting cleansed. I mean, we're like this. Is this offensive? I mean, they're all people in there are usually and we're doing this.
Sandra?
We're doing this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, being very respectful, right?
Yeah, really quiet.
And he said, "I can't tolerate this. I can't relax." He couldn't because all this crap was coming out of him.
You weren't
this soft chanting.
Because you weren't talking about football or anything that could stimulate his
That
false
could be his loudest
desire.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, and Meena says, amazing! The first time I visited the temple, I thought, this is like Moses.
See, there you go. Yeah, it's like if you go somewhere, what are the symptoms of the people? Is it like the Moses thing, more mighty, or is it more spontaneous? Well, right now you won't find spontaneous temples because they're mostly, all of them are regulative. Vaishnavism. Yeah. I mean, you can find churches that are overwhelmed with this. God is so there. Apparently, everybody's in love. Vaishnavism will be like that also in due course. But right now, it's more Vaidhi, robotic, and this mental plane stuff, not awakened. Okay, go ahead. Oh, you have the question. Go ahead, comment. Sorry.
So we are a cult. But we're the real cult. Because we're cultivating the real truth. Because you have a occult.
Yeah.
Was it occult? It's all the mystical stuff.
Yeah.
Which gets everybody into the shed. But this is the real culture.
Yes.
The real culture, the real. So we are the.
Yeah, it's even described in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta as the cult of Bhakti. And the Raganuga level, spontaneous devotion, it's more natural, or leads to that. First, there's transition period, but it leads to a more natural way of worship. Okay, go ahead. Marco's saying something.
Yeah. Marco says, Rob has always been on the case of the Ritviks, saying that a living Mahabhagavat should be followed, meaning Gaur Govinda Swami. Okay? That ties into this next question that they mentioned on the thing. Some guy, Mukundananta Das, says, so this person is saying that Sri Mad Gaur Govinda Maharaj and other pure Vaishnavas were not giving the highest thing, which is Krishna Prem. If that is the case, then these grave offences proves his fallen position and will certainly bring inauspiciousness on his path and all those who follow his characteristics.
But was a saying that.
Did I? What did I say?
Madhusudana says, okay, as you have just said that Sri Gaur Govinda Maharaj and other Vaishnavas are giving out Krishna Prema, have you received it? And relishing that ecstatic devotional symptoms manifest as pure devotional service to Sri Krishna? Maharaj replies, him relishing Krishna Prema, he's too busy relishing the nectar of criticizing, calling those spreading the holy name all over the world fools and cheaters. I think those who listen to such aggressive false witnesses become unfortunate. What do you think, Madhu? Isn't that one of the 10 offences? Are we not spreading the nectar of the holy name all over the world? Are we not publicly providing this daily 365 days a year? And Rob says, Maharaj, I've heard you, my friend, and I've heard you nothing but criticizing others. But you've never said anything about Gaur Govinda Swami not being bona fide.
You always say he's started this Christ school.
Yeah.
But this guy is saying you criticize others.
But you see how he says it? He said he infers it as falsely, a complete illusion. He said, from hearing what you're saying, I infer that you're meaning that Gaur Govinda is not. Therefore, you're an offender and everything. It's such a putting words in my mouth. Did I say that?
No,
I didn't. I was thinking it. Yeah. So he's putting words in my mouth. In other words, he's bearing false witness, and that's what the false. See, we have real witnesses that talk about their real experiences. And the false witnesses are like that. This is the ones under the illusion, and what they do is create an illusion. Okay? The illusion is, you see Gaurahari, he's criticized Gaur Govinda, and you never heard, even this dialogue, I never said anything like that. And everybody knows I've praised him, and because he has symptoms of ecstasy. See? So this is what people do. They try to create an illusion. See, and it's a false witness. So if you believe the false witnesses, what do you get? Is what he says, inauspiciousness. He's just talking about himself. Read what he says again, and I'll show you how.
So this person is saying that Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj and other pure Vaishnavas were not giving the highest thing.
See, there you go. Well, it's true. Gaur Govinda Maharaj was giving something, and Prabhupada was giving more Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay, and Bhakti Siddhanta was giving Vaidhi Bhakti. I mean, we know that's why we see it, right? If they were giving Raganuga Bhakti and it was time, there would be more people getting it, right? Mm-hmm. Just like now, look how fast people are getting it here. We only got a handful of people listening. You know, if there were so many people came and it was time, and he's preaching the message that we're preaching here, so many people would have this. You get over the obstacle. You see all these obstacles, you sidestep them all. Okay? What else to say?
If this is the case, then this grave offense proves his fallen position.
So you see, they weren't given the highest thing. Were they? Were they given the highest thing?
No.
They weren't given it. So that's a lie. That is a faulty conclusion. That is a false argument. See, he's saying they did give the highest thing, but is it true? It's not even logical.
No, it's not.
If they gave the highest thing of Krishna Prem, where the frig is it? Yeah? Okay? If the Lord now is giving Krishna Prem through us, through this Sangha, where is it? How about you, Han? How about here? How about others, getting things like that, developing? You know? So, who's lying? Am I lying? Or is our experience lying? Or is he completely, confused? So read that again.
So this person is saying that Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj and other pure Vaishnavas were not giving the highest thing, which is Krishna Prema.
Now, and he's talking about Prabhupada, if he's mentioning him, Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Vinod, and they didn't give the highest thing. Otherwise, we'd all be like them. Okay? And but if you're talking about now, if you talk about 500 years ago, that was a whole different thing. They were giving. Right? Were they? See, they were giving. But then it was no. So these recent acharyas weren't giving. See, we've got to see perspective on this. Go ahead.
So if this is the case, then this is a grave offense and it proves his fallen position.
See? Yeah, it proves his fallen position. Because is he seeing things as they are, or is this understanding more as it is? So you guys decide out there. So is his idea that Bhakti that Gaurahari Maharaj and the other acharyas, see, probably I have to infer something, because what is he talking about? Of course he must be talking about Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta and Bhakti Vinod. Did they, this is a court of law, right? Did they give out Prema Bhakti?
No.
Where is it? Where is it if it's been given out?
Yeah.
Where? Okay? So is that a faulty conclusion?
Yep.
Okay? That's an illusion. Okay? Without next sentence.
I will certainly bring all inauspiciousness on his path.
See? No, on his path, because he's got a faulty conclusion. Doesn't faulty conclusions cause you to have a faulty result?
Yeah.
But if you have a proper conclusion, you see things as they are, then aren't you going to get a transcendental, auspicious result?
Yes, you are. Definitely going to.
Is that only logical and clear?
Yes, very logical,
Yeah.
very clear.
So if I'm saying they didn't give out Prema Bhakti, which they didn't, he's saying they did. So you guys in the jury,
yeah, tell us where it is.
You vote on this yourselves. If what sounds better, more clear and more logical and more real, his conclusion. So what's going to lead to the inauspiciousness? His conclusion or ours? Ours is going to have a transcendental result.
Yeah, ours has got a transcendental result.
Yeah, it already has a transcendental result. That's why, can you feel that this white lotus of good fortune continues to grow more now?
Yeah, it's here. It's here.
That's why.
Definitely
Okay,
here.
next one.
Okay.
Next sentence.
No. So, and all his foolish followers will be, and all his foolish followers are also, we're all in the
Just
same.
say.
And all those fools following his cheater.
Say what?
That's what he says.
Say that again.
To all those fools following his cheater. Maybe it's bad English.
Well, say what he's saying. His cheating.
And so all those who follow his cheating.
Okay. All right.
So we're all
he's
tarnished.
no. The fools. He's talking about himself again. He's unclear, isn't he? So all the fools who they go on that thread and they agree with him, following his cheating. See, it's just natural. He's being cheated. What do they call the cheaters and the cheated? Right? He's a cheater, and he can't help it. He's being cheated, by his unconclusiveness. He needs to be straightened out if he's ever willing to be listened. So all those who follow you're naturally a fool. If you're foolish, you follow that path, and most people are. They can't help it, unless they come here and listen and try to evaluate. They're called to do that. Then you can get out of that foolishness. Otherwise, you're going to get a result like that, right? See, he's right, but for himself and those fools who follow that inconclusive conception. Case closed, as far as I'm concerned. All right, what else?
Okay, so we read Madhusudan's reply, your reply, and then he says, well, yeah. So then Rob says, sorry guys, I ain't buying your Rolex watches here. And then Marco replies, it looks as if you are pleasantly bothered. It's like they like the squirming.
So you see, actually Maya indirectly praises what we're doing, because we do have Rolex watches here. This is the real wealth.
Yeah.
People thinking, he's thinking material wealth, and I'm thinking, Rolex? Why? Yeah, this is a high class conclusions, man. This is like real wealth, man. Huh?
I got one in here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Rolex around the heart, man. Getting hot, huh? Go ahead.
And then Rob says to Marco, looks can be very deceiving, as you know very well.
Okay.
Wait.
Read this.
Oh, yeah. Janaki says, Rob says, yeah, he's been a horrific guy. Janaki says, same Krishna is speaking through you as spoke through Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Meena says, Srila Gaurahari Das is a rare bird. No eyes.
Just
no
don't flip me the bird. I'll flip those guys.
So Meena says, no eyes, no ears. Yeah. And Janaki says,
shine. No eyes, no ears, no prasadam.
Shine on me, please, she says, Janaki. Meena says, yikes. They are rewriting the books with shoulds on every page, so she must be researching a bit now. Govinda says, Bhakti is waking up in handfuls through Srila Gaurahari Das. Janaki says, our brains need washing. Madhusudan says, that's what I like about you, because you always say you are just a messenger empowered by Krishna to present the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, the conduit.
He says, no eyes, no ears, and sometimes no brain. Janaki says, we are full of misconceptions, speculations, and untruths. Meena says, we can ask questions, just be ready for the answer. Reddy says, if the truth is so effulgent, then why don't they see it?
Ah, good question.
Reddy.
That's a good question. If the truth is so effulgent, why don't they see it? Well, that's just the nature of Maya. And that's what, see, the verses in the Bible say, Isaiah came from Isaiah and quoted by Jesus a lot because he saw the same thing. Isaiah said, be careful you don't consider the darkness as the light. See? So that's the problem. They believe in what is of the darkness. That's why we preach about the mode of goodness, even, is still dark. There's still not full light in that. Okay? The full light is in Shuddha Bhakti. So if you even consider the mode of goodness as the real light, there's some darkness in that conclusion. It's faulty and it's misleading because you believe in that, right? What are we preaching here? We're preaching Shuddha Bhakti conception. Okay? We're preaching real Bhagavatam. This is in the real Bhagavatam. These pastimes that we were explaining and according to how to make the transition from faith in the mode of goodness even, or any of the modes, into Shuddha Bhakti, understanding and worship. See? And that's simply by being purified by the transcendental knowledge of a Shuddha Bhakti, empowered with that. Okay? So, if the truth is so effulgent, why don't they see it? Because they're looking at the darkness and believing it. So if anybody you notice, those who are believing that this is truth, that this is light, what's happening? They're getting transcendental experiences.
They're getting bright heads.
Yeah. So people are used to looking at the darkness as the light. And so but some people, they say, is there something more, like Janaki and Johan? Isn't there something more? Is this the full truth about Krishna, these rules, regulations, and the mode of goodness, and Varnashram Dharma? See? Is there something more?
Sure is.
Yeah.
So I think the last spurt of venom from some guy trying to...
No.
Oh,
this
here.
is, yeah.
Johan replies to Janaki, yes, there's so much rubbish in our brains by listening to the wrong persons. Yeah. Meena says, all natural is very much in demand these days. No additives, no modifications. Want it pure as it is. If someone wants to reject someone else, they have to find a reason to reject, even if they have to make something up. Yeah, they do a lot of that crap around here. Not here, in Facebook. Johan says, such truth, Meena. Janaki says, I agree with my guru, not blindly, but logically, practically, and true. Johan says, if Srila Gaurahari Das Maharaj is wrong, then how is it possible that I understand Prabhupada's books more and more?
Exactly.
Govinda says, Guru Maharaj is a real deal. Wakes up Bhakti. Witness testimonies. Loads of them. Johan says, and for this it was not possible to understand Prabhupada's books. I tried it. And Freddie says, who cares about Rolex? Yeah. So the last guy says, by what is a challenge, by the way, brackets, and the plural of year is just years. And then Rob says, shh, don't wake them up, they're still sleeping. And the guy replies, yes, indeed. I thought such an important message should at least be spelt right. I don't know what it means.
See, finding faults with the writing. Of course, we're...
Excited?
We're on the computer. I just got to do this, and I usually voice type and all that. So they're finding faults. This is the thing. Yeah, they're worried more about proper grammar and English and everything than the truth. That's why even the verses counter that. See, transcendental literature, which this is truth that we're sharing here, even if improperly composed, is accepted by those whose hearts are thoroughly honest. But if you're not honest, and their hearts ain't no honest yet, they have a lot of work to do.
So Marco nicely stands up and says, it's just because he's in ecstasy that the spelling goes wrong. And of course, to satisfy the fault finders. Good man, Marco. Good to have you. So that's the epic conversation.
So you see, it's good, and in this way, everybody benefits. So I'll do more of that. You guys can do more of that too.
So that's on the global. Well, you can't focus it there. Oh yeah, the global Gaudiya something. The global Gaudiya forum.
Yeah. So hey, good. A lot of people are reading it. So
jump on and fight.
Yeah.
Whew.